Is it? It's the 18th. I'm always going to have to ask him. See, when I don't have to think for myself, I completely turn the brain duties over to whoever else it is. So this is kind of an intro. We did decide upon a name because, unfortunately, we did have to retire Call the Question Bitches. But we will have that on merch shirts eventually because I'm just way married to that idea.
Did we decide on Cult of
Cult of
Roberts or Call the Damn Question?
Cult of RONR.
Yeah, that's right.
And got the graphics and everything. You saw it, right? With the cover and everything?
That's right, that's right.
I spent way too
long
long
on Call the Damn
that.
Question is the byline.
Right.
We're also on Facebook.
We're also on Facebook. We're going to be all over the place, but this is what happens to me. When I say I'm going to have something done by a different day, I swear God just sits there and goes, hold my beer. And he goes, ba-doom! So I don't make promises anymore. So we had already filmed through the 14th. This was meant to be a daily show. And then I was supposed to get it all out for the 1st because we were doing this in December. And then I fell on my head for no reason in Denver and had this massive concussion, and I haven't put all those episodes up yet. So this is going to be the intro, then all of the ones that we've already filmed, and we are going to try to get these out on a daily basis. But I do not tempt God anymore, and when they get up, they get up. If it's daily, wonderful. If it's not, it's not worth stressing about. So we do solicit, and I got to constantly remind Mike here, and I'm having Mike introduce himself again in a second. He does it in the first episode, but if he doesn't interrupt, I will just, you know me. I've got motor mouth.
I try to be polite, folks. I really do.
Don't with me. I'm warning you.
Damn it, let me talk!
I'm warning you, don't with me.
I'm kidding, folks. I'm kidding.
Wayne will tell you. I'm not kidding. Don't. Wayne now has an office outside the office, even though we have a home office, because I work at home. And he was just like, oh my God, he had to get out of the house. So the idea is to take two people who are decently versed. We're not experts by any means.
What am I doing here? No, I'm kidding.
We're decent. We're better than the average bear, but we're certainly not, initiates into the priesthood, to go through Roberts and try to have fun learning it better, and to have you have fun learning it better, so that you're not also victims of the priesthood of Roberts.
Wait, smarter than the average bear?
Smarter than the average bear.
What do you say, boo-boo boy? We are smarter than the average bear, but this is parliamentary procedure, and it doesn't make any sense. So we're going to try.
When I think of the bears, all I can think about is those, damn, what's this commercial with the toilet paper and those bears?
Cause my hand is clean.
They're all like, never mind.
I grew up on a steady diet of yogi, among other things.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to these, I don't think the parliamentarians are going to like this yogi.
He does the voices. You'll see. We've got the voices down. I'm not good at that. Listen now. What's one of the standing rules? Turn off your damn phone.
We deleted that one, remember?
Well, we didn't. You will hear dogs. But, so that's the idea. Our daily devotionals with Roberts.
Okay, those are off.
It's going to start out rough and get better. So tell us your suggestions, even if they're rude, because listen, I got somebody rude on my Pink Flame of Liberty channel right now who think they're just being like wonderfully clever. And you want to know what it does? It drives the YouTube algorithm for engagement. So I'm like, troll away, baby. You're giving me free engagement. And all I answer to this person, each time they say something to me, all I do is say, no, you. Each time, no, you. It drives the algorithm up. But we prefer constructive comments, but we'll take whatever we can get to get the algorithm up. I really do not give a shit. So we're going to start then with the 15th after this intro, so you'll see some of the same clothing, but the other ones are from earlier. But we hope to get better. You all know me from Pink Flame of Liberty and all my LP activism, but Mike's not quite so familiar to you guys on video, so I'm going to shut up for a minute for him to give a little bit of an intro before we vamoose.
The reason you don't see me much on video is because I have a face made for radio. My name is Mike Seebeck. I've been in the Libertarian Party for about 20 years. done work on the State Board of Colorado in the past, State Board of California, including the Southern Vice Chair, which is the Los Angeles region, which is one hell of a busy job. About 8 years ago, returned back to Colorado, back home, and I've been active in the party here ever since, to some results, some criticism, but it is what it is. And a lot of along the way, I've had to learn how to use Robert's rules as a means of self-defense against people who would use it as a cudgel. So here we are.
Yeah. And some people think we do that. Mm-hmm. And we have to be careful, because I think sometimes maybe you and I do. We have to be careful to maintain our rebel spirit, because we do get frustrated sometimes with people who just don't want to learn. Mm-hmm. But my whole motivation is the same as yours. I learned Roberts because I was on the bylaws committee for the National Party last term. And I went in there thinking, this is going to be fun, blah, blah, blah. And I had a couple friends on the committee. We came out of the first committee meeting looking like this. What the hell just happened? Mm-hmm. So they took Roberts away. Because it was the old guard. We don't need to mention names. Mm-hmm. But all I can tell you is I got my ass kicked. And I said, that's never going to happen again. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started studying to join the National Association of Parliamentarians. And I'm like, nope, I'm getting into the priesthood, even if it's just to shit on the host. I am, the sacrament, never mind. I make religious jokes all the time. Because I am, what's the word?
Remember, I referred to the authors and publishers of Robert's Rules as the super dorks. Because I've had cases in the past where they simply did not know what they were talking about. And it even happened at the St. Louis Convention where they made some statement, and I'm going, no, your own book says this here, and that contradicts what you just said.
I've got a signed copy from one of the demigods. This one's not my signed one. I was looking.
Dare I ask what they signed it in?
It wasn't in blood, but yeah, at some convention I was at, I was able to get it signed. It's one of my other copies. Yes, I do have multiple copies because I didn't like the way I put the tabs on that one. And before we end, though, you always got to tell me to shut up. He's going to have to be the one to do the adjourning. What we're doing in the series...
Damn it, I forgot to bring the gavel with me.
Oh, shit. Well, here we go. We're using this as an example, and I will always post a link to this. It's put out by the National Association of Parliamentarians, and it's a daily parliamentary calendar. Yes, it is such a thing. But the purpose of it is not just for the sheer perversity of it. It's also
but it's there.
It is there. It's to study for the exams. To get your certifications. But it's great just to learn it. And this isn't like a one-time thing. I also have the 2019 one, and upstairs is the 2018. This has been a long-standing sickness. But, 2019 I didn't touch because I was doing a different study guide. So we have a backup in case I lose.
You're not going to find those at your local calendar shop or toy store, like a lot of other thing-a-day calendars.
But I want to tell a story that I didn't tell you I was going to tell.
What?
Yeah. No, because I love this story, because the LP tends to be very dramatic.
No, yeah.
Where's my pearls? And there's a lot of people who are like at each other's throats or whatever. And I sometimes think, and this has happened to me so much in life, that some of the people whose throats I've been at the most end up being my best friends in life. Now, when me and Mike first met, we were not friends. We were not. And it was both of our faults. But I will fully own my fault, okay? Because I was in cage stage and I was really obnoxious.
Wait a minute, you were in what?
Cage stage.
What is cage stage?
I think we discussed that, but it's in the beginning where you do no good. You should be locked in a cage because you think you know frickin' everything.
Oh, okay. I refer to that as Tasmanian devil stage.
You're brand new, but we get them all in the party. We know the new person who comes in and goes, I know why you guys aren't winning. I've got all the answers, and we're like,
been there, seen that many times.
Yeah, been there, done that. So I was in cage stage, so I was a bit obnoxious. But you were also a bit obnoxious. And at the time, we were both really frothing over abortion. And that can really cause a lot. It was. That's what's the. Well, we were frothing over some things, but we
I thought
got.
it was primarily the platform.
Well, it was the platform on abortion.
Oh.
I remember in the beginning, and I'm going to tell you something that I don't know if you even know. So I wrote an article, if you remember, when I was brand new on abortion, called Abortion and the Libertarian Conscience. And I'm still very proud of that article, though I've changed, obviously. And Judy Darcy at the time was in the board in the county you're involved with. And she invited me to come speak on the article. And I said, will Mike Seebeck be there? And she goes, I'm scared of that dude. I'm like, he like yells and he's just very intense and he makes me uncomfortable and I'm not going to come. Look at us now. So
I don't remember this. I may not have been at that meeting.
No, I didn't go. I turned down the invitation. And Judy was like, oh. So that's funny. I don't think you ever knew this.
I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah, this was years ago. Okay, I was brand new. And then I ended up getting on the Colorado Platform Committee, and we had to rewrite the platform because it still called for the legalization of gay marriage and pot in Colorado.
Keep in mind, folks, the platform at the time was very dated. The structure was basically obsolete because it referenced specific pieces of state law. It was not well done. It needed improvement.
And some of it was unreadable.
Yes, it was.
They had their own statement of principle that I know Travis was very proud of, but I could not make heads or tails of it. So I'm like, there was no saving it because it was in that 3-prong format. Principle, problem.
It was written more like a program rather than a platform, to be honest.
Yeah, it was unsalvageable. So I ended up being chair of that committee, and the committee came to me and said, we're just going to delete and rewrite. And I'm still somewhat new, and I'm like, so you're telling me I got to get in front of the Colorado delegates and tell them I want them to delete their platform? Thank you. That was nice. And we did it, okay? But I come into convention, I'm already super, super nervous because I know this is a freaking long shot. And here's Mike. What are you doing to our platform? And he's yelling at me because it was in Colorado Springs. You're doing the Colorado Springs massacre.
Keep in mind, folks, this was after what happened in Portland.
Right, no, you were right. Listen, I respect the hell out of that. Because, listen, you didn't know me.
Yeah.
And the little bit you knew about me wasn't favorable. Okay? Because, listen, I was obnoxious. And we did not like each other.
You're still obnoxious, but I like it.
Yeah. But what happened, I think, at that convention... and you could tell me if my impression's wrong, because that's why I wanted to do this on camera. What happened at that convention is as the proposals went forward, and you saw the way I was arguing for them, we started to have a meeting of the minds.
We started to.
And at the end, we respected each other as people who cared about the party and the platform in the same way.
Well, at the time, my original objection was the fact that the original proposal was to just one proposal, gut it all, and replace it all without going through each individual planks. And I hit the ceiling over that because, to me, that was the equivalent of saying, without debating anything, I was like, no, this is crazy.
He didn't know I had a strategy.
So we wound up going through it plank by plank, and we had the discussions. There were some adjustments made along the way, and that was fine.
Well, I did that on purpose, okay? I knew I didn't want to do that. Mm-hmm. But if you present people with something really, really scary, all of a sudden they're really eager to do the middle step, where if you presented them with the middle step at first, they wouldn't have wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. So you go, let's delete and replace, and everyone's like, and I didn't want to do that. So you go, okay, well, how about this? How about we delete it and just put in the statement of principles? Mm-hmm. And if all we end up with is the statement of principles, we could live with that.
And that's why that went first.
Yeah. And then we said, well, we've got that. Why don't we just put in the headings that had the summary statements? Mm-hmm. We could live with that.
Yeah.
And we did that. And we're like, well, why don't we look at some of these subpoints? Mm-hmm. And we ended up doing it very peaceably.
Yeah.
Even and that platform committee had people on it that were not ideologically aligned with me, like Jack Wire. Mm-hmm. And it was just very, very peaceful. I think Colorado probably had the most, at the end, peaceful platform replacement.
And to be fair, the platform itself was actually very well written. My objection initially was the fact that it was all or nothing, which to me was totally nonsensical.
Yeah, and I would have been suspicious.
Plus I had an ulterior motive myself.
See, I didn't know. You didn't know mine. I didn't know yours.
At the time, there was a whole bunch of bylaws proposals that were just totally unconscionably ridiculous. And the way that the convention schedule came up, platform was up first, and then if there was time, get the bylaws.
And we didn't have time.
We didn't have time to do bylaws because while going through all the pieces of platform, we ran the clock out.
Well,
And
because
those
then we were
bad
scared.
Those bad proposals died on the ash heap of history, and they're relevant now because those proposals got redone as something functional last year.
Right.
So they're not even going to be revisited. But at the time, they were just unconscionable because of the way they wanted to just destroy the structure to the point where the chair was effectively a dictator.
You know, I don't remember those
not
proposals. Yeah, I was on that committee, to be honest with you, but I did not. I don't remember those proposals.
It was not a good idea. But the side effect of that also was it started creating the backlog of issues which we finally got addressed last year. So.
That committee, was that the committee? Scott Helker was originally chair of that, and I adore Scott. But when he first came into that committee, his first proposal to me was to put the board of directors under the control of a non-profit, non-libertarian board. Okay, this is me at the table. Wayne's sitting next to me, and I'm like, and Wayne's going, I'm still have post-traumatic shock, because I was like,
My first reaction would have been that was, dude, what weed are you on?
but once you know Scott, you realize it really you know, he was just trying new things, whatever. It works in other nonprofits. It doesn't work in parties. Okay. So I say that story to give hope. There's somebody out there you probably don't get along with really well. If you give them a chance, you probably don't like them because they're just like you. Most of the people we really don't like, not all of them, are because they're too much like us. And then if you give them a chance, they end up being some of your best friends ever. Because like Mike's one of my best friends ever. He knows that I freaking go to bat for this guy like a tiger.
And I greatly appreciate all.
You know, that's what friends are for. All right, so that's the end of this intro, and we're gonna get started. You don't have your gavel, so just now, cheers. Yes, I have a drinking problem.